crazy to hear that, man. It is crazy to hear that. Oh, I don't know if it'll ever sink in. So.
Yeah, mate, honestly, well, we had you on 6 months ago, and normally I don't, very rarely do we have amateurs on. I can't even remember the last time I had an amateur on, but, obviously if you watch Glove Muscle, I must have mentioned you 4, 5, 6 times in the last few months, and I've said, look, this guy is just a pro waiting to happen, and you've just won. Like I said to Nate Spears also in this episode, you haven't just got your pro card, you've just got a pro card by winning the Nationals at the NPC, and you've won the overall. Lee Haney, Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone, these big names, and you've got it at the biggest show that you could get it at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's an amazing feeling, Giles, to follow in the footsteps of, the people that you just named, and most recently, Sergio Oliva Jr., Hunter Labrada, Jonathan Witherspoon. These are guys that I look up to as well as the older guys, such as the Kevin Levrone and the Sean Rays and the Lee Haneys. And, to be in, such good company, such prestigious company, like I said, it's just so surreal. Like, I almost don't believe it. I almost don't believe it. Because 6 months ago we spoke, and then now it's here. And I'm just like, wow. So maybe it'll soak in. I don't know when it'll soak in, but I'm ecstatic to be in such great company and amongst such great bodybuilders.
So are you still at the hotel, right?
Yeah. So right now we just finished up the photo shoot, quite literally just finished up maybe 10 minutes ago. So a little raw and real right now. We're still at the hotel.
Nice. Who'd you do the photo shoot with, and how did it go?
I did it with JM.
Oh, nice.
So JM's awesome. It was very smooth, very relaxed, very fun as well. The weather here in Orlando is great. So it's not too hot, not too cold. So it feels great outside, and yeah, it was good. And he also invited the winners of bodybuilding to go up and train at the gym in Pittsburgh. So that was great. I'm definitely going to take him up on that opportunity and get some footage and some training in.
Oh, you got it. That's a real honor to be invited.
Yes.
You got to have that extended to you, because they love it when they have the new champions. They want to welcome you properly, into the pro league and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's a huge honor, mate. That's a really big deal. That's cool.
Yes. So I plan on definitely going up to Pittsburgh because it's not too far from me. I'm right in Delaware, Philadelphia area. So it's not too far of a flight or a drive. So I definitely want to plan to go up there sometimes next year and get some good training and footage in.
So let's talk about the actual show, mate, because I said we had Nate in this episode, as I said, and to be honest, I even said last week before the Nationals, I said, I've got a feeling this is going to be one of the best Nationals for at least a decade. And it absolutely was. I watched some of the live stream, and the amount, the quality, the quantity, the production, it just seemed to be one of the almost like those big Nationals in the 90s. It was really back with a bang.
Yes. I agree. I think it was probably one of the best that I've been to out of the ones that I've attended and the ones that I've competed in. The level of competition, the camaraderie, like you said, the level of production, the fans, it was insane. The energy, it was probably the best. If I was a fan, it would be probably the best bodybuilding show I went to in a while. Wow. Amateur bodybuilding show in a long time, just because of the energy there. It was amazing. You'd have to, if you were there in person, it was an experience to cherish for sure.
So you've done the Nationals as a middleweight. I said it in the hot news. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. That's the correct, isn't it?
Yes, I've done it as a middleweight.
Middleweight. So that's 80. So just for the sake of the viewers, that's under 80 kilos. So what were you weighing in that one? Were you bang on 80 kilos or?
I was around 176, a little bit lower, 175.
So you were 175 on stage. What year was that?
2017.
2006. So 4 years. You're coming back not as a light heavyweight, not as a heavyweight, but a super heavyweight. What did you weigh yesterday?
Actually, if you really want to know, I weighed right above the cusp of heavyweight.
Oh, really? So you were 101 kilo?
Yeah, so I weighed in right above the cusp of heavyweight. But after, the whole process of drying out, I actually weighed in, if you want to know, I actually weighed in at 220 on the day of the show.
Oh, bang on. You're literally bang on. So you literally could have been in either category.
I could have been in any category, but I weighed in for heavyweight, but for the day of the show, I weighed in for super heavyweight, but the day of the show, I was 220. Yeah.
So what was the plan? Was the plan to bring you as a heavy or a super?
The plan was super the whole time. Yeah, but the plan was super, but to really bring in some good conditioning to the supers.
Yeah.
And better than I did at the NPC Battle Royale. That was the whole plan.
Was that the Armed Forces one?
That was the Armed Forces 4 weeks ago. Yes.
That was 4 weeks out. And I mean, to be honest, you'd never ever brought that level of size, not even close to the stage before.
Yeah. And I feel like we still have a lot of room to grow. Obviously, like I was 220 on stage and I weighed in at around 225. So I have a lot of room to grow into, my frame.
So if you're 220, 225, you know what I'm going to ask next with regards to pro. Are you going to go open, or are you going to suck it down to 212?
Honestly, I think if I feel like my physique has the look of an open pro. And if I do it correctly this year with a great off season, I don't see myself quite making 212. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if it shakes out that way. If I can get down there, people don't think Derek Lunsford would have made 212, but he did. So you never know. So if my body goes in that direction of a 212 for say the first 2 years or so, then so be it. But if it goes in direction of growing into be an open pro, then that is the goal.
Thing is, you remind me of guys like Hidetada, Ronnie Raquel, where they're literally you could sort of, like you said, you could try your hand at 212 or you could try your hand at open. Flex Lewis was absolutely bang on, dry shredded ready for 5 years at 225, and he took that around the same sort of weight, so he took that decision to kick it down to 212. But it's nice to have that option, isn't it?
It is. Or you see like recently, say it's like I know Hadi. He could have, he could. Who knows? He could probably suck down to 212, right? But is that his best look? It does. He could probably fit better in open because it's just his best look. Same thing. With Flex Lewis. Was his best looks at 212, or will they be now in open? So it's very pretty cool to see like how bodies can shift and one could be 212 or open. So I'm very interested to see where I go this off season. But the overarching goal is to eventually be an open pro because I do want to be on that open Mr. Olympia stage one day.
Yeah. I mean, things have been kind of turned upside down in the last couple of months because like Sean Clarida now and Angel Calderon are winning open shows. And Sean Clarida was lighter than he was at the 212 Olympia, and he was only 174, and he's beaten Regan Grimes. So it's whatever your physique looks really best at.
It really is. Yes, it is. And as we could tell, from this past weekend, I was the lightest super on stage, right? Yeah. And we were able to take the supers and then the overall. Yeah. So it really is just whatever you show up your best at.
Yeah, I remember the 10 years ago actually, the British Championships. There was a guy who wanted to make heavyweight, and he ended up being 101 kilo. So he was in the supers, and he ended up winning the overall. And he said, well, to be honest, he says, I'm happy I didn't lose those extra couple of kilos. He said, because I might have lost my fullness and I might have lost the heavyweight. So he said, I always say to people, look, come in whatever you look your best at, and then just, like Hadi, William Bonac, these are guys that, Hadi probably was around 215. I'm guessing 250 at the Olympia this year,
Correct, yes.
And he's like top 5, So it's whatever you look your best at and you feel you're most confident at.
Yes, sir. I couldn't agree more. So definitely going into next year, this off season, we want to try to bring up the weak parts, still bring up the back, and just making a more complete physique. But again, if the body goes in the direction of it's like you say at 215, but I look my best, then I feel as if you should go where you look your best. Yeah. And that's what we did this time around. We wanted to go where I felt that where we felt that I looked my best. So
it's nice when I've been sort of hyping somebody all year, I've had you on Globe Muscle, which is typically really normally pros. And when somebody actually delivers, honestly, mate, you were making me a little bit nervous at the Armed Forces because you looked a couple of weeks out. You looked 4 weeks out from the Nationals. And I was thinking, I really hope this guy brings it in. I hope he brings it in because to see somebody with your because really your level, your physique is pro level. It has been pro level all year. Anyone could see that. Anyone could see your progress pictures on your doorstep.
The green door, yes, sir.
Hang on. I was also in the hot news. I said, what do the neighbors think? Are they driving past when they see you posing on your front doorstep?
The neighbors are pretty much used to it. So as I'm posing, they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" how's it going? You know, so they're pretty much like just used to seeing me in my trunks at like 7:30 in the morning when the light's out in front of the green door, getting it in. But occasionally you'll get like someone who just stops and drive back. They'll stop and be like, oh my God, like what is going on? You know?
So I'm guessing you don't have a backyard or back garden, or is the light just really good on that front doorstep?
The light is just really good on there. And honestly, I'm a sucker for just consistency and just kind of, it makes me feel more comfortable when I'm like in the same spot, you know, like I try switching it up and taking other places, but I just don't feel comfortable mentally, you know, like it's kind of like you kind of have that like what do you call it? That routine, you know, like it's just a routine. It's just like you don't want any bad juju. You you go to a different spot. Who knows what might happen? Yeah. But if you stay, it's like bodybuilders. We're creatures of habit. You know, you might eat with the same fork, eat with the same plate. I just take, you know, and I believe taking, you know, your progress photos in the same spot, and you know, I've been doing that for years now. So I can, you know, and around the same time as well. So I can just track, you know, my progress of like time of the day or in this month, like this is how my body was reacting, you know, and the lighting is the same, or the depth is the same. So it really helps with just like looking back at photos as well. Yeah. Because if I were to change my positions all the time, you know, the lighting would be different, the angles would be different. So I try to keep everything consistent. And plus, I'm just comfortable in that spot as well.
That's a very detailed answer for why I asked. That's great. So, I mean, bringing a physique, I mean, really, you know, you were a middleweight, and then you're bringing this completely new physique to the big stage. Now you've won the nationals and you've won the overall. Does it make you feel more confident?